Hey guys, we're going to be doing our Bible study in Acts 18 this next week. So, as you're preparing for that, one of the things that we're going to do, as we've always been doing, is look at the flow of the narrative, how it's working, how the different aspects of the story play out. There's actually really two stories in chapter 18 that we're going to be looking at together. So, you'll have to kind of decipher how those break up. And that's part of doing Bible study, is to understand what are the limits of our passage and where do we start, where do we stop, what's our context, the immediate context and the broader context. But what's interesting is that we do have this story about Paul meeting Aquila and Priscilla, husband and wife, and seeing how they operate together. And then we have Apollos coming into the picture, whom you may recognize from the book of Corinthians. So Paul's in Corinth, he's doing ministry there. What I want to focus on, or what I want you to focus on, is there's this great little passage in there where God speaks to Paul, who's actually trying to figure out what he should do and where he should minister. And he speaks to Paul and he says, "Do not be afraid. Keep on speaking. Do not be silent, for I am with you, and no one is going to attack and harm you, because I have many people in this city." And one of the questions I want you to think about is, what does it mean for God to speak to us today? What does it mean for God to direct us and guide us? How is it that God alerts us to what he wants us to be doing? And then what promises does he offer? I mean, it's very interesting. Speak and don't be afraid. I am with you. He promises his presence, and then he promises his protection, and then he says, I have many people in this city. And I think sometimes maybe we in New England can feel like, there aren't a lot of us out here. There aren't a lot of believers here where we live or where we work. And God's saying kind of the same thing that he said to Elijah. He says to Paul, he says, you're not alone. You're not the only one. There are others of you out there, and I'm going to be with you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you're okay. Now, it doesn't mean that Paul never gets hurt. It doesn't mean that Paul is always protected, but he's actually protected there. So it's interesting that God gives him a special promise there. So then also asking a little bit of the question, what does that mean for us? What might we learn for this? Because it's not a universal promise for Paul always. So it's not a universal promise for us always. So what does it mean? And then as an interesting tidbit, there's a couple of things about Priscilla and Aquila that are interesting, about the order of their names in different parts of the passage and what that might mean. A good study Bible, a good commentary would help you answer those questions. There's also plenty of articles online. You could get really caught up in that, so go as far as you like, go as deep as you like. But I will, below the video, once again, I'll post the outline of a narrative literature. We always have our three questions. What does it say? What does it mean? And what does it mean to me? Or how do I apply this in my life? So those are kind of the guiding ideas that you'll be looking at in your Bible study this week on Acts 18. All right, have fun doing it. I'll see you soon.